Good morning, hitters. That was a long pause. Excuse me for my hesitation. At one point or another, I promise you that you've either been so bad at something that you pretty much didn't know how bad you actually sucked, or you were like so good at something that you kind of lost touch with reality, and you kind of lost touch with how long and exactly how hard it was to get to your point. Long and hard. Stupid. It took a long time, hard time to get to that level of, God damn it, to get to that level of competence, level of unconsciously competent at something, unconsciously competent. Fucking look it up, find out what that means. But you probably lost touch with how long it took you to get to be unconsciously competent at something. So you kind of just assume that everyone around you either understands or they're kind of at the same level, and eventually you're kind of just let down by the fact that they aren't, as competent as you. These two seemingly opposite ends of this big spectrum are two ends to an effect, a bias that's called the Dunning Kruger Effect. In essence, the Dunning Kruger Effect is it's basically like having fake BDE. And if you don't know what BDE is, it's an acronym for having a large penis, or as my coach and my lady teammates say, BTE. It's like having big old breasts and walking around with the energy, knowing that everyone just knows what you're packing in that sweater or those chonies. How do I say it? And not sound like a fucking idiot. Illusory superiority. It basically, it's judging others as better. Oh, not others. Sorry, strike that. It's judging ourselves as better to a degree that violates the laws of math. Meaning that people with a low or a high skill set overestimate or underestimate their own ability. On average, people do tend to rate themselves better than most in things, whatever it is. Studies show, from things as far as like health and fitness to leadership skills to learning in school, that kind of stuff. Like it's crazy. People will sit there and think that they are better than they really are. And the people who actually suck the hardest will more often than not rank themselves equivalent to the level of the experts in the field. Think about that for a second. So people who aren't as good, who've have very little exposure to whatever category they're looking into, they're gonna sit there and they're gonna believe that they're at the same level. They have this fake perception of their overconfidence, fake BDE about their own ability and rank themselves among some of the best. That's kind of like a it's kind of like a guy who lives at his mom's house and like doesn't work out, doesn't eat right, and then sees that that like the Chargers are having an open tryout, and he shows up off the couch wearing a cape. That's that guy. The truth of the matter is that we all have pockets of incompetence that we do recognize, and a lot more than, a lot more that we really don't recognize in ourselves. The messed up thing about all of this is that the people lacking the intelligence and the knowledge in whatever field it is that they're trying to be good at, whether it's weightlifting, whether it's sports in general, whether it's writing, whether it's podcasting, art, whatever. Delusions. They have fucking delusions. They're delusional. But people lacking the intelligence and knowledge pretty much suffer like twice as hard because of their inability to grasp onto their delusions. It was the actual professor Dunning himself who said that the knowledge and intelligence that one requires to be good at a specific task are often the same qualities needed to recognize that one is not good at said task. And if one lacks such knowledge and intelligence, one remains ignorant. That one is not good at that task. In short, poor performers lack the expertise needed to recognize how badly they are. They're delusional. Well, not necessarily delusional, but you get the idea. Poor performers lack the expertise needed to recognize how badly they're doing, which means if you don't develop that skill and knowledge and know what's wrong, you're never gonna learn what's wrong and which direction to go. In the end, it means that you really just have to acquire more knowledge and intelligence in the thing that you want to be good at. Look at what a great performance looks like in your field, in the craft, and what you do, what you're passionate about. Look at what a great performance looks like, and compare. You sit there and compare. If you have the access to know what it's like to practice like that, to perform like that, see what their shortcomings are compared to yours, see what it is that you need to make up for. That's a really powerful thing. As a weightlifter, as me, I'm always watching videos of other weightlifters before me who are much better than me, who are, better technique wise, trying to figure out what it was that they'd done as far as like training and practice, all that kind of stuff. So it's good to always have an idol, have someone recognize the difference in what your idol does and what you do, and just figure it out. Figure out the difference. Someone's done it before you, and someone will do it after you, and they might use you as a template. So do you, but better, so to speak. Now, on the opposite side of what we're talking about, the experts, those smarty pants, they tend to see the world through their own perspective of being, a goddamn know-it-all, and they do forget a lot of the times that people just aren't as good as they are, and they'll always make you feel like a dum-dum. Basically, you know, they are some people who are experts in the field are out of touch with the fact that, you know, either, you know, they recognize they know how hard they worked, they know what they've done, they know the hours they put in, but they kind of just assume, and this is just from the stuff that I've read about this, is that most people in that expert field kind of just assume that everyone's on the same playing field that they are, or just kind of think, they just think different. They think about they think not that they're better, but they just know what they've been through, and they just forget. But on the other side of it, really intelligent people, really expert people, like expert level people, know that they know a lot, and on top of everything that they know, that there's still so much more to learn, and that kind of cripples them, and it makes them pee their pants like a bunch of nerds. Yeah, nerds, whatever nerds they are, weightlifting nerds, art nerds. But what about the average Joes? What about them? I'll talk about them. Relax. So, people with that moderate sense of experience and expertise often have a, say it, yes, they often have a moderate amount of confidence because they're right in the middle. There's a lot of stuff that they do know, or there's a moderate amount of stuff that they know, but there's a substantial amount of stuff that they don't know. It really depends on where you're at. So you can be right there in the middle. You can be kind of confident in your capabilities. You can kind of be right over the cusp where, all right, I'm a little bit more than moderate. I know a lot, and there's still some, but there's still a good piece of stuff that they don't know. And that's a really good place to be, in my opinion, in life, because you're on the cusp of always learning more, and you should be happy with what it is that you've learned up to that point, but being better every day. Be better than the day before, Now, unfortunately, a lot of the shortcomings that we have, and even the Dunning Kruger effect is imperceivable to the naked eye, because it's a concept and it's not something that you can actually physically see. You won't be able to tell if you're experiencing it, or if you have these shortcomings, unless you really sit and evaluate and kind of ask yourself a couple questions. But if you really want to find how good you are at something, the most important things that you can do, number one, is ask for feedback. Doesn't matter if it's the shit that you don't want to hear, or if it should be the shit that you don't want to hear. The shit that you want to hear is only going to keep you comfy. But ask for feedback from anybody, your idols, your coaches. Your friends, but your friends know you, and they're going to sugarcoat things for you. The people your haters. Talk to your haters, bro. Talk to those haters. The haters that you trust. The haters that have good reasons for hating. You know what I'm saying? Ask for feedback. And the other most important thing is to keep learning. Keep learning, because the more that you learn, the less likely you're going to be to have those huge gaping holes in the underwear of your competence. And everybody knows that if you have huge gaping holes in your undies, you're going to chafe. And chafing hurts. So don't chafe your confidence. And that was the Dunning Kruger effect in the layman's terms. So thank you. Thank you for listening. I love you guys. And just be easy out there. be easy.